New Bond. Bum, bum, bum. Before we get going on our spy games, I have to ask you, please hit like and subscribe and join us for the ride.
Unofficially, but possibly official, Tom Hardy, new James Bond. How do you
Yeah.
feel about this, Frankie? What does that do for you?
It's complicated. Tom Hardy is a fantastic actor, but I always associate him with intense performances, which aren't necessarily highly charismatic, suave
Yeah.
performances. I've always seen him as very like aggressive and intense and not
like,
necessarily a ladies' man.
He's such a character actor. Not that James Bond's not a character, but it's not. James Bond is like the epitome of a leading man, suave, like, and I mean, here's the thing. Hate me all you want. I've never really loved Daniel Craig as Bond. He never really did much for me. Hot take.
Me either. He's a bit dour. I like him. He's fine. I've accepted him, but
exactly.
Dour.
There will be nothing left to save.
I grew up with like Pierce Brosnan as Bond, and I always thought his take was, while the movies weren't great, like the writing wasn't great, I thought his take on Bond was just phenomenal. Dapper, sophisticated, suave, charming, genius of espionage, whatever. Like it was all there.
Or somebody's gonna have my butt.
First things first.
Just the writing wasn't great. And then the writing's been so much better for most of the recent Bond movies, but Daniel Craig just didn't do much for me. I enjoy Daniel Craig as an actor, just not as James Bond. And so this Tom Hardy announcement does almost the same thing. It's almost my same reaction as Daniel Craig. I'm like, I like him, but not as James Bond.
Well, this isn't much of a discussion. I agree completely with you.
It's so funny.
You can tell we didn't
we didn't talk about this at all leading into the like. I hope we have some real argument breaks out. We try to like virtually fisticuff each other over the James Bond choices.
I get why you shot him. Yeah, well, everyone tries at least once.
I think early Pierce Brosnan was perfect. Again, the movies got silly, but his take was always great. Sean Connery, early Roger Moore, they were really fantastic at doing that. Tom Hardy is quite an excellent actor, and I think he deserves the chance if he wants it to do it, and I think he could pull it off. I just don't want them to keep being like sad and realistic with James Bond.
No,
a little levity.
Especially now, everything's been so like grim for 20 years of kind of movie stuff. Like, let's go back to like real fantasy. We just need some distraction now.
New model.
The very latest in intercepts and countermeasures, and 6 beverage cup holders.
The one thing I can think of that's the closest to Tom Hardy being James Bond was the kind of smaller role he had in Inception, where he's kind of a, arms dealer, but he's also kind of this suave.
He's got a couple lines, quips.
He's got a couple lines in there. It's not a major role in the movie, but it was the moments that he has were good moments, and he's very dapper dressed, kind of arms dealer guy or whatever. Yeah, I could see it. I'm
100%. It's the exact example I thought of.
That's the only thing I can think of, because otherwise,
he had a lot of levity in Inception.
Right. So I think, honestly, it's probably going to come down to the writing. Bring out that side of Bond for Tom Hardy to work with.
I am impressed. Your condescension, as always, is much appreciated, Arthur. Thank you.
He's just so like recently done all these kind of like weird voices and physicality and stuff. Like he's in Peaky Blinders, obviously like Bane and Batman and everything. Or there was a small movie called Locke where it's literally him in a car for like an hour and a half.
It was a
good movie, but that's it. It's literally Tom Hardy on the phone for an hour and a half in a car, and he's like got this like thick Welsh accent. Like he seems to be really into both physicality and voice kind of stuff. I'm like, well, James Bond, that's not really what this is.
He's like a Brando, and I don't know if Brando would have ever been a good James Bond.
You mustn't be afraid to dream a little bigger, darling.
We both said at the same time, Peaky Blinders is such a commitment to character of that like Cockney Jewish gangster was a real extreme interpretation of a human being, right? So I think he could throw himself, like he knows James Bond is supposed to be this international man of mystery, and I think he could do it. Again, as you said, the writing needs to be there for him though to do it.
I look forward to seeing you prove any of that.
I'm a bit on the Idris Elba bandwagon right now because I think he's so smooth and can
even
be
in
so
a mediocre movie, Idris Elba is just like always enjoyable. He's just got that charisma. He's got that just confidence about him that I
like
think
Luther, he can be intense and crazy too.
Tom Hiddleston and Henry Cavill were some top choices. Tom Hiddleston, I was a little like, I don't know, like physicality. I'm just like, he's so kind of like slight, but Henry Cavill I would have been fine with. A lot of people never saw Man from U.N.C.L.E., which was clearly like a James Bond tryout movie, but it's really enjoyable if you want to see what we could have had with Henry Cavill as James Bond.
Well, Man from U.N.C.L.E. is an old book series
Right.
like the Ian Fleming series. They're same era of spy espionage novels.
This next James Bond movie, I know Spectre was a little bit of a disappointment. Quantum of Solace as well. Like, it was a decent movie, but it just wasn't a very James Bond movie. It was a very Bourne Identity type movie. And so hopefully this last one for for Daniel Craig really goes out on a high note and maybe sets things up for good expectations for future ones. Obviously, James Bond as IP is worth too much to stop making them, but hopefully we change things up a little bit. New Bond, new vibe to the whole thing would be what I would most want to see. If it's going to be Tom Hardy, not super excited about that, but maybe at least if they go in a new direction with things, like, I can get behind it.
Well, either way, I'm excited for more Bond. I'm a big fan, so
Bond,
I'm excited for the future. Let us know what you think. Who do you want to be the next Bond?
We will get in some fisticuffs in there with you, but not really. We're too fun and friendly for that. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, though. We're going to keep coming with a little nerd news every time we hear it, and regular reviews to you guys. So we'll see you in the next video.